Study the Bible in 1 year. Good morning. We are on December 3rd. December 3rd. Hopefully, you are enjoying the book of Daniel. I love the book of Daniel. I want to thank you for your love and support. Remind you, I now have t shirts available. So, check my t shirts out. It's linked below. I need to attach this channel to my Teespring store. Okay, I'm going to attach it. Also, my new book, 10 Years of Girlfriend, is available on Amazon. Check that out. Show me some love. Okay, hold on. Okay. The Naked Wife is also available. 23 Types of Guys is also available. Okay. All right, December 3rd. Let's go. Let's go. My goal is to try to finish all of December this month. Okay. December 3rd, we are in the New Testament book of First John. First John chapter 3. Are you guys enjoying the book of John, the Apostle John, not John the Baptist, okay? First John 3, verse 7. Dear children, don't let anyone deceive you about this. When people do what is right, it shows that they are righteous, even as Christ is righteous. But when people keep on sinning, that's it. Keep on sinning. It means that's your lifestyle. It shows that they belong to the devil, who has been sinning since the beginning. But the Son of God came to destroy the works of the devil. Those who have been born into God's family do not make a practice of sinning because God's life is in them. So practice of sinning means that's your lifestyle, right? So they can't keep on sinning because they are children of God. So now we can tell who are children of God and who are children of the devil. Anyone who does not live righteously, right standing, and does not love other believers does not belong to God. This is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. We must not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and killed his brother. And why did he kill him? Because Cain had been doing what was evil and his brother had been doing what was righteous. So don't be surprised, dear brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. Hold on. Okay, the world is going to hate you because you're doing right. You're living righteously for Christ. Verse 14, if we love our brothers and sisters who are believers, it proves that we have passed from death to life. But a person who has to has no love is still dead. Anyone who hates another brother or sister is really a murderer at heart. And you know what murderers don't have eternal life within them, okay, because they haven't repented. We know that we know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. If someone has enough money to live well and sees a brother or sister in need but shows no compassion, how can God's love be in this person? Okay. Love is an action word, beloved. Verse 18 of 1 John 3. Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions. Our actions will show that we belong to the truth. So we will be confident when we stand before God, even if we feel guilty. God is greater than our feelings and he knows everything. Verse 21 of 1 John chapter 3. Dear friends, if we don't feel guilty, we can come to God with bold confidence and we will receive from him whatever we ask because we obey him and do the things that please him. And this is his commandment. We must believe in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, and love one another just as he commanded us. Those who obey God's commandment remain in fellowship with him and he with them. And we know he lives in us because the spirit he gave us lives in us. So as you can see, beloved, a lot of what the believer life is about is your actions, right? You can't be walking around, oh, I love God and all this stuff, and and then your life doesn't line up. Okay, because when you love is an action word you have to show. I just shared that on my other channel about a wife. Lots of women have issues respecting their husbands, and I talked about how the church is always yelling and screaming for the wife to respect her husband, but never tell the wife. They never tell the husband how to respect the wife, how to love the wife. And how many of you know that men are active and wives are reactive? So when a husband reacts unlovingly to his wife, she then reacts disrespectfully. They never taught that in the church, right? They never taught that. All they taught, respect your husband, honor your husband, and all of this stuff. They never tell the husband how to love the wife. And so now there's so much divorces in the church, and I guarantee you, if the church would sit down and teach husbands how to love their wives, a lot of marriages will be saved. First of all, wrong people are getting married. Come on, somebody. Okay, a lot of wrong people are getting married. And when you marry wrong, no matter how you try to write it, it's just not going to be right. So the Apostle John is telling us, listen, you can't say you love and there is no action. When you love somebody, there have to be actions. You can't say you love the needy and you never give to them. Okay? Flip on over to Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11, verse 2 to 35. Now, when Daniel 11 and 2, now then I will reveal the truth to you. 3 more Persian kings will reign, to be succeeded by a 4th far richer than the others. He will use his wealth to stir up everyone to fight against the kingdom of Greece. Then a mighty king will rise to power, who will rule with great authority and accomplish everything he sets out to do. But at the height of his power, his kingdom will be broken apart and divided into 4 parts. It will not be ruled by the king's descendants, nor will the kingdom hold the authority at once it had. For his empire will be uprooted and given to others. We know back in the days, kingdoms were ruled by a bloodline, right? It's not that way anymore for most countries. Verse 5, Daniel chapter 11, verse 5, the king of the south will increase in power, but one of his own officials will become more powerful than he and will rule his kingdom with great strength. Some years later, an alliance will be formed between the king of the north and the king of the south. The daughter of the king of the south will be given in marriage to the king of the north to secure the alliance, but she will lose her influence over him, and so will her father. She will be abandoned along with her supporters. But when one of her relatives become king of the south, he will raise an army and enter the fortress of the king of the north and defeat him. When he returns to Egypt, he will carry back their idols with him, along with priceless articles of gold and silver. For some years afterward, he will leave the king at the north. So God was telling what's going to happen, right? King of the north alone. Later, the king, verse 9 of Daniel chapter 11, later the king of the north will invade the realm of the king of the south, but will soon return to his own land. However, the sons of the king of the north will assemble a mighty army that will advance like a flood and carry the battle as far as the enemy fortress. So God is telling Daniel what's going to happen between the kingdoms, north and south. So Daniel can know what is to come, because what's prophecy? Foretell, to tell what's coming, okay? Verse 11, Daniel chapter 11, verse 11. Then in a rage, the king of the south will rally against the vast forces assembled by the king of the north and will defeat them. After the enemy army is swept away, the king of the south will be filled with pride and will execute many thousands of his enemies, but his success will be short-lived. Wow. After a few years later, the king of the north will return with a fully equipped army for greater than before. At that time, there will be a general uprising against the king of the south. Violent men among your own people will join them in fulfillment of his vision, but they will not succeed. Then the king of the north will come and lay siege to a fortified city and capture it. The best troops of the south will not be able to stand in the face of the onslaught. The king of the north will march onward unopposed. None will be able to stop them. He will pause in the glorious land of Israel, intent on destroying it. He will make plans to come with the might of his entire kingdom and will form an alliance with the king of the south. He will give him a daughter in marriage in order to overthrow the kingdom from within, but his plan will fail. After this, he will turn his attention to the coastland and conquer many cities. But a commander from another land will put an end to his insolence and cause him to retreat in shame. He will take refuge in his own fortress, but will stumble and fall and be seen no more. His successor will send out a tax collector to maintain the royal splendor, but after a very brief reign, he will die, though not from anger or in battle. The next to come to power will be a despicable man who is not in line for royal succession. He will slip in when least expected and take over the kingdom by flattery and intrigue. Before him, great armies will be swept away, including a covenant prince. With deceitful promises, he will make various alliances. He will become strong despite having only a handful of flowers. Without warning, he will enter the richest areas of the land. Then he will distribute among his followers the plunder and the wealth of the rich. Something is his predecessor had never done. He will plot the overthrow of strongholds, but his wealth lasts for only a short time. So you see, all these kings are only lasting for a short time, right? Verse 25, then he will stir up his courage and raise a great army against the king of the south. The king of the south will go to battle with a mighty army, but to no avail, for there will be plots against him. His own household will cause his downfall. His army will be swept away, and many will be killed, seeking nothing but each other's harm. These kings will plot against each other at the conference table, attempting to deceive each other, but it will make no difference, for the end will come at the appointed time. The king of the north will then return home with great riches. On the way, he will set himself against the people of the Holy Covenant, doing much damage before continuing his journey. Then, at the appointed time, he will once again invade the south, but this time the result will be different. For warships from western coastlands, who's in the west, will scare him off, and he will withdraw and return home. But he will vent his anger against the people of the Holy Covenant and reward those who forsake the covenant. His army, this is verse 31 of Daniel chapter 11. His army will take over the temple fortress, pollute the sanctuary, put a stop to the daily sacrifices, and set up the sacrilegious objects that causes desecration. He will flatter and win over those who have violated the covenant, but the people who know their God will be strong and will resist him. Wise leaders will give instructions to many, but these teachers will die by fire and sword, or they will be jailed and robbed. During these persecutions, little help will arrive, and many who join them will not be sincere, and some of the wise will fall victim to persecution. In this way, they will be refined and cleansed and made pure until the time of the end, for the appointed time is still to come. Talk about the Antichrist. Flip on over to Psalm 122. Psalm 122. We are moving. I was glad when they said to me, come, let us go into the house of the Lord. How many of y'all know what that is about? Hallelujah. That was David, okay? David is a descendant of the Moabite. Remember Ruth, okay? Ruth is David's great grandmother. And so Ruth was a Moabitess, and there was a law that says descendants of Moabites could not go in the temple for the 10th generation. And so David said, I was glad when they said unto me, come, let us go into the house of the Lord. David was also the first one to build a temple with no holies of holies, okay? There was no holy place. He said, I'm just going to go before the throne of God. We're going to study that more when we do the study guide, okay? I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. And now here we are, standing inside your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a well-built city. Its seamless walls cannot be breached. All the tribes of Israel, the Lord's people, make their pilgrimage here. They come to give thanks to the name of the Lord, as the law requires of Israel. Here stand the thrones where judgment is given, the thrones of the dynasty of David. Verse 6 of Psalm 122. Pray for peace in Jerusalem. May all who love this city prosper. O Jerusalem, may there be peace within your walls and prosperity in your palaces. For the sake of the family and friends, I will say, may you have peace. For the sake of the household of the Lord our God, I will seek what is better for you, O Jerusalem. Beautiful, isn't it? Proverbs 29:1. Proverbs 29:1. Whoever stubbornly refuses to accept criticism will suddenly be destroyed beyond recovery. Oh, Lord. How many of y'all know there's a lot of people who don't like to be taught, who don't like correction? You know, they get defensive. All right, beloved, this is why I say read a Proverbs a day. It will help us. And we all have stuff we need to work on, okay? I love you. I have to run. I want to know how you're enjoying the book of Daniel. Thank you for your love and support. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, my book's on Amazon. Please check them out. Show me love by purchasing a book. And remember, I need a 5-star art review. Talk to you later. Bye.